Hi world, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Keely and I make bookish related content. I have been working towards applying for a PhD, so that's been a lot of my reading blogs and vlogs lately, but I wanted to come on here and do a video for my May reading plans. And this is only going to be fiction books that I'm hoping to read in the month of May. And knowing very much that I am a mood reader and I change my mind all the time, but I'm going to try this month to stick to a reading plan. So I have my little journal here where I'm going to write down all of the books that I say I'm going to read in this video, and then at the end of May come back and update you on whether or not I have stuck to it. The only things that will not be included in here besides the nonfiction that I'm reading is also any ebooks that I then pick up, because those will be what I decide to read at night. So the current ebook that I'm reading is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. Once that one is done, I will then pick another one, but I'm not sure yet which ebooks I'm going to read. So I'm going to leave that as my mood read option, and then the rest of the month I'm going to try really hard to focus on the books that I have on this list. The first one that I have on this list is Memoirs of AA by Arthur Golden. This one I am going to be reading so that I can write an essay on it for a writing sample for PhD applications. I'm going to be comparing Memoirs of a Geisha with the actual Geisha, a Life autobiography of the geisha that he interviewed, to see how they compare and, contrast the two of them. I looked into it a little bit, and I know that after the book came out, I believe she sued him for defamation, but I haven't looked into the case a lot, so I just want to read first and get my own impressions of the story and then of her life and compare them, and then afterwards I'll look into it more to see what ended up happening. I am not far into this one at all. I just started it yesterday. I read there's a fictional translator's note at the beginning, and then I started reading chapter 1. I already have so many things that I've marked off, so I have some tabs down here. I need to start tabbing stuff and keeping track, primarily with how he is talking about geishas and how he's talking about women. It's very interesting so far. So that will be the first one. The second one for my China book club is Red Sorghum by Mo Yan, which is the second book that they talk about in the class. It's actually a class that's like a book club that I'm taking just for funsies. And so this is the second book. This one is all about it takes place in the 30s as the Chinese battle both Japanese invaders and each other in the war. It's a legend in China, has won lots of awards. It got the Nobel Prize for Literature, so very much interested in getting back into this one. And a classic I've been wanting to pick up lately is Faust by Goethe, or Goethe. I don't remember how you say that one. And I believe that this is about like someone's journey with the devil or something like that. I don't entirely remember, but I've had this copy since last spring, I think, and I really want to get to it. This one is translated with an introduction by Walter Kaufman. And I did grab some shorter ones to throw in here. So the first one is People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami, translated by Ted Goosen. And I have read Strange Weather in Tokyo by this author and really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping that I will also enjoy this one. This one's a collection of interlinking stories. So it's a bossy child who lives under a white cloth near a tree, a schoolgirl who keeps dolls' brains in a desk drawer, an old man with two shadows, one docile and one rebellious, and then a diplomat no one has ever seen who goes fishing at an artificial lake no one has ever heard of. So it's just supposed to be a really strange collection of stories about these people that live in a neighborhood. And an absolutely huge one, we have Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. This one, I don't know anything about it other than that it's a Korean novel that a lot of people really like, and it got the National Book Award. It's a finalist for the National Book Award. So I'm very excited to have this one, and I think it will be a good one for the spring. The shorter one is The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and this one is winner of the Man Booker International Prize. I believe that this one is about someone who becomes a vegetarian, but you never actually hear from the perspective of that person, if that sounds right. I think that's what the situation is for this one, but it sounds really interesting and I'm excited to read it. Another short one, we have Organ Meats by K. Ming Chang, author of Bestiary and Gods of Want. I have Bestiary, but I haven't finished it yet. I started that one a long time ago, so I will probably restart it. This one is about two girls who are bound by red string and canine heritage. So it's about best friends Anita and Rainey, who find refuge by an old sycamore tree with its neighboring lot of stray dogs who have a mysterious ability to communicate with humans. There's dog-headed women and women-headed dogs. It sounds like it's gonna be another really weird one. One that I've had on so many lists and I just never get to it is Blackwat Sister by Zen Cho. This one is about someone who starts hearing the voice of their dead grandmother and then ends up having to help her with something that I guess was like left unresolved when she died. And I have Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, and this one takes place in Shaker Heights, a suburb of Cleveland. Everything is planned. No one embodies the spirit of this more than Elena Richardson, who plays by the rules. And then there's Mia Warren, a single mother who shows up with her teenage daughter Pearl, and now people are suspicious of Mia, and Elena gets all up in Mia's business. I'm very interested to finally read this one. I'm not interested in the show at all, but interested in reading that one. And we have Stoner by John Williams, introduction by John McGahern, and this one is about William Stoner, who was born into a dirt poor Missouri farming family, sent to the state university, but instead he becomes obsessed with English literature and Harvard, I think, and it's supposed to be really good, so that's why I picked it up. Then we have The Idiot by Elif Botman, which was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. And this one takes place in the 90s, and there is Selin, who's the daughter of Turkish immigrants, and she's at Harvard. Okay, so the other one I don't think is Harvard. I think it's just this one who is at Harvard, and it is supposed to be really good about her experience there and the relationships that she has. Then we have Briefly A Delicious Life by Nell Stevens, and I did start reading this one when I got it earlier this year, but then I put it down and never picked it back up. This one is about a ghost. It says in 1473, 14-year-old Blanca dies in a hilltop monastery, and then 400 years later, a family moves in and she haunts the family and becomes obsessed with them. And then the final one I have here is one that I purchased a couple years ago, and this one is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. I now have a couple of Ishiguro, and I have not read any of their work, so I really want to. So this was the very first one that I have by them. I also have Never Let Me Go and Remains of the Day. I am very excited to finally get to this one. It says the Romans have long since departed and Britain is steadily declining into ruin, but at least the wars that once ravaged the country have ceased. The Buried Giant begins as a couple, Axel and Beatrice, set off across a troubled land of mist and rain in the hope of finding a son they have not seen for years. They expect to face many hazards, some strange and otherworldly, but they cannot yet foresee how their journey will reveal to them dark and forgotten corners of their love for one another. It sounds really interesting, and I don't think it will take me that long to get through, because even though it's huge, like the font is pretty big and there's huge margins, I don't think this one will take me that long. What I need to do now is take all those books and write them down in my little journal here, and then keep track of them, and by the end of the month, then I will do a wrap-up video telling you guys whether or not I have read them. So there's a handful here that I got so far this year. There's 10 of them so far that I purchased this year, so I would love it if I could knock even half of them off of my TBR. I have not been doing a great job of keeping track of my TBR because I've been getting rid of a lot of books and bringing a bunch in, so that's kind of gone by the wayside. I'm just kind of enjoying reading and not trying to take it as seriously as I have at other points. I know at some point I will go back and like scan all of them in again, make sure that everything is up to date. But if you wondered like how many books do I have unread right now, I have no idea. I think it's still like 200 something. Closer to 200 than 300, but I'm not really sure of what the total is. I need to write all of these down now, and then at the end of the month, I will come back and tell you whether or not I have read them. Let me know if you guys have read any of these and what you thought of them. What are you hoping to read in May? And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.